Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 7 of the $20 Less podcast. We're recording live on March 21st, 2015, and I'm your host, JD, aka Gaddock Teeg. And with me today, as always, is my co-host, Cosmic Engine. How you doing today, Cosmic?
Not too bad, yourself?
I'm doing alright. You know, I actually got a lot of gaming in this week, which was a nice change of pace from the past few months. So we have a lot to talk about in this episode, which is good. We've also had a couple weeks off for various reasons. We apologize for anyone who's been missing us, but we are back and we are ready to talk about video games. So you can start it off here. What have you been playing?
What have I been playing? I've been playing Pillars of the Earth. Not Pillars of the Earth. Pillars of Eternity. I always get it mixed up with the TV show. I don't know why.
What's the TV show?
The TV show was Pillars of the Earth was it was about a cathedral builder. It was like a 4-part episode. It was like a drama set in medieval times, which has nothing to do with the game, like nothing at all.
Great, okay.
Just always on my mind. But no, I've been playing Pillars of Eternity, which is out next week. Because I got access to the beta. I'm going to do a review on it this week. It's, for those who don't know, it's the old school isometric RPG by Obsidian Entertainment, and it was kickstarted by like 77,000 people. So it's pretty. I like it. I like it a lot. But
yeah, it really seems to be like the culmination of the new like resurgence of the isometric RPG. So hopefully it's good.
But it's definitely one of the most visually impressive ones that I've seen in a long time. Like, there's been a lot of kickstarted RPGs trying to like Wasteland 2, etc., and none of them have quite pulled off the visuals that Obsidian have pulled off on this one. It looks fantastic, so that's really good. And everything else I've been playing, I can't talk about. So over to you.
Well, that makes for a great podcast when you can't talk about the stuff you've been playing.
You can't beat good NDAs. Embargoes are the way.
Yeah. But I've been playing a whole hell of a lot of Hotline Miami, but that will wait for later. Other than that, I've been playing a game called Frozen Cortex, which was made by the same people that did Frozen Synapse.
Oh, was it?
Like that SWAT team.
Right,
yeah,
I played Frozen Synapse. That was really good. I really liked that.
It's similar in like you have to plan out your moves and you're planning at the same time as your opponent, so you have to kind of predict what they're going to do. But it's set in like a futuristic American football game. So really you have to like plot out your plays while the defense is plotting out their play, and like it actively, like, you have to work to figure out what your opponent's going to do so you can try and counter that, but then what are they going to do? And there's a ball and you have to throw towards a goal, and there are different score points.
So
and
it's Frozen Synapse, but NFL Frozen Synapse.
Yeah, it's basically NFL Blitz Frozen Synapse Edition, and it's a lot of fun. The gameplay itself is great. I just wish that they had worked on... I don't even know if they could, but if they had optimized it better, the turns for the computers take an eternity. Like, I could plot out my play in like 30 seconds or a minute, and it would take them, upwards of 5 minutes I've had. So that's really annoying. But other than that, the game is just a whole lot of fun. And a big problem also is that it breaks down the play. So every time something happens in the play, it'll stop and then you replan out your moves. So you plan out your play basically, and then someone picks up the ball or someone gets hit who had the ball and he drops it. So it breaks it down there again. And every time that happens, the computer has to recalculate. So matches that could take, 5-10 minutes, and that would be a great length, can take upwards of like 20 or a half hour sometimes. And even when you're playing against other players, human players, it can take a long time because obviously you're at the mercy of how long it's going to take them to do it. I do like that they have kind of almost like a hot seat multiplayer where you can set up your play and they can set up their play whenever, and it'll just run it and it'll alert you when you need to set up your play more and alerts them. So you can kind of do it as a hot seat thing, which I'm a fond of hot seat multiplayer. I played a lot of the Risk online where you can set it up with your friends and play Risk hot seat, which was a lot of fun. So I'm glad they got that in there, but man, this game could be awesome if they could just get that computer AI all set up.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So definitely check that out. I think it's worth. I think it's like $20 or $25 right now. I mean, it has multiplayer. It has a season mode. I wish the season mode had a little bit more features built into it, but I think it has charm. It's set in like a futuristic something where you don't play the sport anymore. Just people jack their minds basically into the Matrix and play as a bunch of different robots. Your mind is like directly linked to these robots, and there are different factions. There's like one robot faction. There's one like super futuristic computer company. There's one like underhanded kind of company that you don't shady business dealings kind of going on with them. So I like that they've set up kind of a world and they made it make sense. But like I was saying, the $25 might be worth it. And if you find it on a sale, if it goes on a Steam sale, I would definitely pick it up. If you're a fan of American football, if you're a fan of the Synapse series, and if you're a fan of strategy in general, it has a good strategy vibe to it. I've also picked up, and I know this is gonna sound crazy, I've started playing Clash of Clans. I was convinced to do it by a friend. He's a big clasher, as he said.
God.
And he has a guild, and he would hook me up. So he was like, "You got to download it, dude. Just download it." So I went ahead, I downloaded it. I haven't told him I downloaded it yet because I just want to see if it's okay before letting him know. Because I know once I tell him, he's gonna be like every 5 minutes, "Oh, dude, you got to get your builders working. One of your builders isn't going." But I started it, and it seems okay. I mean,
as soon as you start calling yourself a clasher, then I'm done. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than saying you're in the clan. But but anyway, it's just there's not much there. I was expecting a lot more. When people say Clash of Clans, I think of like this huge $1 million operation with all these systems and crazy units, and there are a lot of crazy units in the game, but it's all very simple and all very slow and plotting, and obviously that's a way for them to try and get you to pay money. But if you don't want to pay money, and I'm trying to avoid paying money at all costs, it's just there, I guess. It's fine, whatever. I mean, maybe I'll play it, maybe I won't. I don't know. Have you ever played any of the big mobile games, Clash of Clans, Game of War, any of those?
No, not really. I stay away from them because it's not that I don't find it as an enjoyable experience at all.
Mm-hmm.
I remember before, like when mobile games were starting to become popular and Facebook games were starting to become popular. I used to play like Facebook games, like like stuff like Clash of Clans that was like turn-based and stuff that you just played on your browser. But I'd never enjoyed them. I don't see the appeal. Like it just irritates me every time. It's when you've got like you run out of energy or something like that, and you've got to, and it's like wait an hour or pay money. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna go play a proper video game.
Yeah, I never find them that offensive. Like I know some people when they hear of a free to play game, when I say Clash of Clans, they're like, oh, what are you doing? Like that's like an atrocity. I don't get that. Like they're there. Some people like them. I think they could be good, but for the most part, I've just never found them super engrossing. And this one, just like I said, it just kind of seems like it's there. I probably won't play it much, but we'll see. I don't know. Maybe there's something past the 50-hour mark or the $50 mark that actually is interesting.
You say that, and then next week you'll come back and you'll be like, I'm a clasher.
Yeah, right. I know. It's something about them. It's like liquid crack, and there's something to be said about just very gradual, just progression, just very gradual progression. It's crazy how small you have to make their progression to actually get people invested in it. It's crazy. I don't know. All right, let's move on to some news then. Like I said, there's been a lot of news since the last time we had an episode, but let's start with some of the newer stuff here. So within the past week, there's been a couple of big things I'd like to talk about. Let's start out with the big Nintendo announcement. There was a press conference involving Nintendo in which they announced two big things. One is that they would be looking into mobile development of Nintendo titles, and that is all Nintendo titles. They said Mario, they said Link, they said everything. And they also announced the NX, which is apparently going to be the successor to some console or possibly a new console. It will be a console in some way. So what do you think about this Nintendo announcement? Let's start out with the mobile development. What do you think about Nintendo on mobile?
What does that mean? Are they talking? I mean, are they talking about like iOS and Android? Is that what they're talking about?
Yeah, they're talking about playing Mario Pokemon on the phone.
Why?
Because Pokemon on the phone would be crazy.
Pointless.
I would love Pokemon on the phone. Pointless.
Utterly pointless.
How?
Mario on my iPhone, Zelda on my iPhone, Pokemon on my iPhone, utterly pointless. I have a DS for that, which is perfectly acceptable. Looks better than any mobile device. That's the point of a DS.
I would be with you on Mario, on Link, because I just don't see them working on a touch interface unless you have just like an endless runner or something. I don't think a traditional Mario or Zelda game will work. But Pokemon just perfect for the phone.
No.
And I see what you're saying. They already have a mobile device, but when I play my 3DS, it's on long car trips, long train trips, long air flights, or I'll play it in the apartment here. I won't take my 3DS to work. I take my phone to work every day.
Right.
I have 5-10 minutes on the subway every day. I could be playing Pokemon, but I don't have my 3DS. I think that will work perfectly for them, and especially in the Japanese market.
What's the point? Like, I don't understand the point. I just don't get, like, if you've got, like, Nintendo controls the handheld device market in terms of like video game handheld devices. Like, I don't see why you need to move on to iOS. I don't see the point. I don't think there's enough benefits to the actual consumer to justify that at all.
I don't know. I think that's crazy. Look at the number of 3DSs out there is pretty big, but the number of phones out there dwarfs that number.
Right, but at the same time, they're talking about you look at your target audience though, for Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, and Nintendo, like 3DS games. Look at your target audience. Those are people who buy 3DSs because they want to play video games. People who purchase and play mobile, like iOS device games and Android device games, primarily aren't people who video game on other things. Like, they're just doing it just because they're on their way to work, and then they go to work and they don't play other video games. It's not the same audience. It's not the same people who are doing that. So, for example, like if you're a gamer, you've got a 3DS, you've got a PlayStation 4, you've got an Xbox One, you've got a PC. There's no benefit to you having access to Mario on your iPhone. There's no benefit to it because you've already got Mario 3 times over.
But everyone seems to have Mario 3 times over. I think that people will buy Mario on the iPhone. I think that's...
I'm not saying they won't buy it. I just think it's a stupid idea.
I think that...
I think it's like it's equivalent to the Nokia N-Gage. It's ridiculous.
Well, I think that Mario is something that transcends gaming. I think that my parents will download a Mario game on their phone and play it on their iPhone. I think they will. Okay, I think that'll happen.
That might happen, but at the same time, they're not expecting a good experience, though. They're not expecting 3DS quality entertainment, whereas people who are Nintendo customers will be expecting a certain level of quality, and they won't get that on a mobile device.
I don't know. I think they could. I want to see a game out of... I want to see what they mean about this, because they have been very vague about exactly what kind of games they would be. But they did say Mario. They did say Link. I think they said Samus. They've said basically all of their big titles are open for mobile development. So maybe it'll just be a match 3 game or a Candy Crush cow clicking game. I don't know.
But if it is that, then it's just a cash grab, and that just bores me.
And it will make money. That's the thing. If they just made a Candy Crush with Mario heads, or like, you did a match 3 game where Link was fighting Ganon, that would sell. Let's be honest here. That would definitely sell.
Would it be any good?
Probably not. But that's besides the point almost. And then the other part of the announcement was they talked about the future gaming platform, which was the NX. That's the code name for it. it seems like they just basically dropped this as a sidebar when talking about mobile development. They talked about this platform that they would have. People are assuming this is going to be the predecessor, not the predecessor, the next step of the Wii U.
Right.
And I think it's too soon to be talking about the future plans for the Wii U. I don't know. I don't know what this could be though.
What is it? Did they say it like it was going to be like a replacement for the Wii U?
They haven't said anything. All they said was that this mobile development. Let me bring up the actual document. I believe when they were talking about this mobile development, they casually dropped in the fact that the NX would be a future platform for Nintendo products, and that would be part of this development partnership with DENA, which I guess is a Japanese mobile developer who's going to be doing these Nintendo games. Maybe they're talking about like
some kind of store.
Yeah, that could also be it. It could be like a Steam style or
I can't imagine
Origin
it would be
style.
hardware. That wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, but that seems to be what everyone's going to. Everyone seems to be talking about how they've kind of announced that they have a future console in the works.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine it'll be hardware. I imagine that it will be like almost like a Steam for Nintendo.
Yeah, and they did just retire the Nintendo Rewards program, whatever it was called. So maybe that was one of the steps to leading into this, where this will be their new Nintendo platform, and they get all their products and titles all tied together.
I can see that happening.
Yeah. That might be a good idea. I don't know. We're getting to the point where everyone has their own store, and it's getting a little annoying.
I can imagine they just want to go like the PlayStation route, where PlayStation, like the PlayStation Store now, you can basically buy PS3 games. Like you can buy basically the PlayStation library, and you can also get PS Vita games on the PlayStation Store. So it's almost like it's multi-platform for Sony's products. So I imagine that Nintendo want to do the very similar thing, that they want to create a store where you can buy your Wii U games, you can buy your 3DS games, and whatever else they've got, they can get it all in one place.
Yeah, and Nintendo is actually starting to get into more cross-buy stuff, so you could better manage that now. You could better manage that if they added a system where you could have an all-in-one platform. So that would be interesting. I would definitely appreciate that. Let's move on to the next bit of news. Hideo Kojima is apparently leaving Konami. Shocker. So it seems like, according to many different sources, I don't think this has been officially confirmed by either side, but it sounds like there's been some kind of rift formed between Kojima and Konami, and he is out after MGS5. I know you're a big fan of Metal Gear.
I am.
What do you think of this? What's going on with?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know the real story. It's hard to tell because especially Japanese video game companies are kind of old school, tight-lipped silence. They think they're the CIA kind of thing. So it's hard to say. Like, I mean, I read a report on one website where it said that there was a problem originally between Kojima and the advertising department of Konami, that they disagreed with the advertising for Metal Gear Solid 5 and all that kind of thing. But I don't know what the problem is. I can see him going. I mean, I think it would be good for him to go, because I think it's time for him to do something new, because he's actually quite a innovative games developer, and I think it would be quite cool for him to kind of leave and go even go indie and go like set up his own studio and try and do something really creative. Right. But I mean, I can see it happening. I mean,
yeah. I mean, would you be interested in something Kojima did in the future, or is it just Metal Gear that really brings?
No, I would definitely be interested in some. I mean, Kojima has some really good. I like the way I watched a documentary years and years ago when he first, I think it was just after Metal Gear Solid came out, yeah, on the PlayStation 1, and I watched the documentary, the in-house documentary they made on how they went about developing the core mechanics for the game, and how basically he gives everyone, including, it doesn't matter who you are, you can be an animator, you can be an artist, you can be a programmer, it doesn't matter who you are, he used to give them to the janitors. He would give out little notebooks, and he would basically say, I want one idea, doesn't matter if it's brilliant or stupid, but I want you to write down one idea a day, and then they have to submit that idea to him. for like a mechanic or like just any kind of idea. And I always found that really interesting.
That's pretty cool.
And it was actually how they came up with a lot of the mechanics of the original game. They came up with like especially a lot of the stealth elements, with like the wall hugging and the corner and the camera kind of pulling around the corners and stuff like that. That's how they came up with that.
Yeah, that's neat. I would be excited to see what he does in the future because I'm not a huge Metal Gear fan. I know we talked about Ground Zeroes earlier, and I talked about how I'm not a big Metal Gear fan, but I've always appreciated the culture around Metal Gear games and listening to people talk about them because it sounds like some kind of ridiculous alien life form has come to the world and created this story because what the hell is going on?
Just amazing.
Yeah, and I feel like we're too deep in for me to get in now, so if he went and started something else, I could get in on the ground floor on it, and then it would be set. And then how about the other side of this? Would you be interested in a Metal Gear game without Kojima?
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
I don't see why not. I think that it's like any IP. I think any IP can be. I don't think an IP rests on the laurels of its original creator. I think that it's sometimes good. I mean, you look at Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good that George Lucas is gone. Like, does anyone really want another George Lucas Star Wars film?
Sure, it's a good point.
Like, it's sometimes good for IPs to get new creators in and people with new ideas and different approaches to where to take the characters and stuff like that. So, things like that don't bother me. I always think it's good to have a change.
Yeah, for sure, and that's. We'll definitely, it looks like, be seeing that come. When is Metal Gear Ground Zeroes coming out? Does that have a release date?
It's this year sometime, isn't it? I would say fall.
I have to look. Let's do some investigative research here.
I would say the fall of this year. The Phantom Pain.
Phantom Pain. What a great name.
But I imagine it's this year.
See. And
I'm going to go with November or October.
September 2015. It looks like Xbox is getting it with all consoles September 1st, and then it'll be on PC on the 15th.
It's nice to have a Metal Gear game on PC for once.
Yeah. Did it ever come on PC? Did those games ever come to PC?
No, we had the spin-off. Yeah, we had the Rising. We had the spin-off, but we've never had a proper Metal Gear game.
Interesting. Well, it'll probably be a buggy mess on PC then if this is the first one we're getting. Let's just be honest here. Moving along. I guess we also missed
the BAFTAs.
Yes, we missed the BAFTAs. If you want to go over those,
yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
Well, let's go to like the very top one, right?
All right.
Best game.
This really won best game.
Best game. No, it won best game. Won best game.
Oh my god!
Destiny won best game at the BAFTAs.
Destiny won. You're joking, right?
No, because they're all.
What was nominated in this category?
They were all on. They were all on crystal meth.
Holy shite!
No.
Wow.
But I have no idea why that won. I mean, even like. I remember the night of the BAFTAs, and I was like reading people's tweets and stuff, and even like players of Destiny who think Destiny's great were like, "Really? Should we have won that? I'm not sure."
Wow, I
can't believe that game won. That's I can think of 10 better games that came out last year that should have been best game rather than that. I mean,
yeah.
You had. I mean, just think about the games that came out last year. You had Bayonetta 2. You had Divinity: Original Sin, Alien Isolation. You had Dragon Age 3. There was all kinds of games. Dark Souls 2. You know, there were so many games. Like, I mean, and if you're going to give it to a first-person shooter, Wolfenstein: The New Order was a far better first-person shooter than Destiny was. Far better.
I mean, that was quite the surprise, too. I mean, that was
if you're going to get, there was 100 and different games that could have won that, and I can't believe they gave it to that piece of crap. That was just shocking.
You want to just run through a couple more
Yeah.
here that you found interesting?
Game innovation went to The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, which I didn't play, but I heard was really quite interesting. That was like a kind of detective game, I believe.
Yeah, and I heard that game looked amazing, like absolutely incredible. I saw screenshots, and they were as good as advertised for sure.
What audio achievement went to Alien Isolation, which is well deserved because that game sounded fantastic. It was like being in the original film for me. That game, like in terms of audio and visual, it was just
looked like that.
It was fantastic. Sure. Music went to Far Cry 4. Why?
I've heard nothing about Far Cry. I mean, I've heard people talk about Far Cry 4, but I feel like I still know nothing about it because all I know is it's basically Far Cry 3 in the mountains. Is that it? Is there anything special in that game that I should know about?
No. It's Far Cry 3 with a few improvements and set in kind of a North Korea, but not North Korea.
Oh,
it is North Korea. And yeah, no, it doesn't. It wasn't. The problem with Far Cry 3, it was a buggy mess, and it still is a buggy mess for a lot of people. And for the music was okay. I wouldn't have gave it the award. I think there was a hell of a lot of indie games that deserved the music award because they had fantastic, phenomenal soundtracks.
Mm-hmm.
So that was ridiculous. Multiplayer went to Hearthstone, which I
think that's well deserved.
Okay, that's fine. I don't,
I think that is such a different multiplayer game than what video games really are used to. I think it really deserves that.
Which was fun.
Yeah.
Original IP went to Valiant Hearts, which I liked Valiant Hearts. I don't think it should have won the award, but whatever. Mm-hmm. I just feel like the problem I had with Valiant Hearts was like it was Ubisoft trying to be indie,
mm-hmm.
and there's people are like, well, it is an indie game. It's not an indie game. It's Ubisoft, not an indie game.
I mean, I liked Valiant Hearts. I thought it was cute, but I mean, if it was the best IP, I couldn't name right now a better IP that came out last year because last year was a whole lot of remakes. But if I really sat down to think about it, I could probably.
But there was plenty of indie games that had some fantastic IPs last year.
Yeah.
For me, it's interesting actually reading the list of BAFTAs because a lot of it has gone to AAA developers,
mm-hmm.
which is interesting because last year for AAA developers was actually shit, and indie games ruled the marketplace last year, like ridiculously. I mean, indie games outsold AAAs all year long, and to see so few indie games actually win any BAFTAs
mm-hmm.
was concerning to me, but the reason that is because people know people and nepotism and money and all that crap. But it was actually it's disappointing to see that all the awards are going to, like, for example, The Last of Us. The Last of Us won a few awards. Why? It wasn't that good. Like, it actually wasn't that good. There was a hell of a lot of indie games that were much better than The Last of Us, so...
Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to really weigh in on a lot of these game awards because, I've only played the games I've played and only heard about the other games. So it's tough to say X was way better than Y and Y didn't deserve it if I didn't play both. But it just seemed like everyone was so down on AAA video games last year, and for this list to have so many of those AAA video games that people were so down on, I think that just speaks for itself, really.
Yeah, I mean, for example, the Game Design Award went to Shadow of Mordor. Why?
Right.
Like, yeah, it had the Nemesis system, which was fun. But apart from the Nemesis system, it was Assassin's Creed in Mordor. Does that deserve a Game Design Award? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess. Sure.
But there you go. That was the BAFTAs.
Yeah.
Utterly pointless.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about some Steam, some Vive, some Vivs, some VR? You want to talk about VR? How about that?
We can talk about VR.
So Steam's making a VR machine. Surprise.
Hooray.
That's all right. That's it. We've talked about VR from Steam. Moving on. All right, let's actually get into the Steam announcements. So they announced VR. They also announced that the Steam machines, a whole slew of Steam machines, are now available, I believe, for pre-order, along with the controller. You can see all the specs of all the different Steam machines. There are a ton of them, and they're all expensive and probably not worth it. It's crazy, some of these machines that they're trying to pass off as high-end gaming PCs that you can put in your living room.
I know.
I don't get it.
I don't get it, but I know they're going to get bought. You know that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and
they totally.
I don't think they're going to sell as well as a console would. And to be honest, originally when they were first announced, I thought no one is going to buy those. But I tell you who is going to buy those, and it's going to be parents. It's going to be parents who don't know PCs, and they're going to buy like their teenage and younger kids Steam machines, thinking that they're getting them a really good thing because kids want to play Steam games. And then they're going to be spending like $500 and not realizing that for that kind of money, you could have just got them a better PC.
Right. I mean, do parents buy their kids PCs though when they want to play games? Don't they buy them Xboxes and
I don't know.
PlayStations?
It depends.
That's what's in stores.
But the thing is, not like especially with indie games and stuff now, kids like especially like when kids are reaching like kind of 10, 11, that kind of age, they're wanting to play Steam with their friends because a lot of their friends play Steam. So that's what it's going to get. It is going to get bought by parents who don't know any better. Yeah,
I mean it sucks because a lot of those Steam machines you can build yourself for much cheaper than the combined price. And what are you getting? A controller that they made, and that controller looks ugly. If we're gonna be honest about it, I don't know. I haven't tried that controller. I haven't picked it up and felt it. So I mean, maybe there's something to it that I don't get. But I look at that controller and see a monstrosity.
No,
this is a good controller. I will use this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, the controller doesn't look great, and they've tried to design it so that you can play RTSs on it as well. Which
why?
Well, I don't know because
what's the point?
I don't get it. The thing is, if you want to play PC games, buy a PC.
Yeah.
Like I don't see the need for a Steam machine right now. You have an Xbox. If you want console games, buy an Xbox One or buy a PlayStation 4. They're tried, they're tested, and they're good, right? If you want to play PC games, buy a PC, because not only is a PC better than a Steam machine for the price, and not only you buy a PC not only for the ability to play really good high-end video games, but you buy it for its other uses, such as multimedia uses, such as work usage. And then you can use a mouse and keyboard and a controller. So at that point, with a Steam machine, you're basically getting the ability to play PC games at a subpar standard with a subpar input device and none of the other functionality that a PC has.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that you could possibly say is that the form factor makes the difference, but I mean, a lot of these websites now, you can get that small form factor and just get the parts yourself, and it'll be cheaper. I mean, you could put it together on several websites. Some of these Steam machines you could put together part by part, and they will build it for you. It's not even like you have to build it, which is the scary part for a lot of people.
And if you don't want to build your own PC, there's websites to show you how to do it, or you could just go to a local computer dealer and say, "Listen, I've bought all these parts, but can I give you $50 to put it together for me?"
Right,
because it will literally take them 15 minutes to do it.
Right,
It won't take them long. So I don't see the point. And if you want to argue about, people say, well, it's real high-end gaming PCs are expensive, and they are. But at the same time, if you're going to spend $500 on a Steam machine, buy a console or save up a little bit extra and buy a PC.
I mean, consoles aren't $500 anymore either.
Yeah.
I mean, when these were first announced, they were, and that kind of made sense when they were like, we're aiming for a $500 price point because that's what the Xbox One costs. That's what the PS4 with the big hard drive costs. But now you can get a Xbox One for $325 with a game and 2 controllers.
Yeah, I was reading an article that said, coming from they were trying to look at it from Valve's point of view, because Valve are basically putting their seal of approval on Steam machines. And it was interesting saying that it was almost like the way that Valve has behaved with the Steam machines, kind of letting people do what they want and not really caring. It's kind of like that someone somewhere with a lot of money in a corporate boardroom said, "It would be a really great idea if we kind of made a crossover between consoles and PCs." And then everyone signed deals with manufacturers, and then 2 weeks later, like Gabe Newell woke up and kind of went, "This is a bad idea," but because the contracts had all been signed, it's kind of done deal. They're just going to go through with it anyway. But I can't see, like, for example, I was looking at the Alienware Steam machine, and I was like, if I'm going to give Alienware $500, I'll just buy a PC off them. Like,
yeah.
I understand why these companies are building them, because they want, if it hits big, they want a piece of the market share. But I can't believe anyone actually really thinks this is going to take off.
Right, yeah. I don't know. I mean, if they were going for like the hardcore PC gamer that wants an under TV set box, then I think that they're way underdoing it. And if they're going for like the like you said, like the parent who's buying their kid a Steam box to play Steam games, then I think they're way overdoing. I don't know who this is for. I think they're missing both their possible targets.
I don't know who it's for, but I know that parents will buy it.
Yeah,
I think parents will buy it, but I don't know it's for, and especially for, I don't think it's aimed at a high-end PC gamer, because a high-end PC gamer, if they want to play their video games on a TV, they'll just either plug in their PC or stream HDMI.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have like $1,200 Steam boxes, though. Who is that for? If you're going to spend $1,200 on a game to play Steam games, I hope to God you understand that that is not the best value that you can possibly get. And maybe it's for people that have more money than God. Maybe that's what
it's obviously for people who've got more money than sense.
Yeah, so like maybe that's it. And then if that is it, and Steam has enough people to buy, and Valve has enough people to buy that and spend all their money and waste their money on it, then I guess good for Valve. They found a market niche that they can exploit, and good for them. That's good business, I guess.
I don't know. I don't get it.
All right. Yeah, I don't think either of us do. So let's. You got any other news that you want to do? I know we kind of had a haphazard couple weeks as we've been.
Yeah, but to be honest, even though we've been out for a couple of weeks, there's not been news. Like, it's been pretty boring. So I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to this week's game of the week, which is Hotline Miami 2: Wrong Number, developed by Danaton Games and published by the juggernaut Devolver Digital. The price point is $14.99. You can go ahead and check out the show notes for the website, and if you'd like to purchase it on Steam. This game is a cocaine simulator. I just want more of it all the time. I want to be playing this game. I want to sit there and just go, because this game is awesome. I love the first one. They've improved it. They've added a better soundtrack. They've added a bunch of neat mechanics. There's more variety. There's several different characters, and it all just works so well together. I love it. I love this game.
I don't.
What? What?
Yeah, no.
What?
I don't like Hotline Miami.
Oh my God! What? How? What don't you like? What is not to like? This is like mainlining drugs into your eyeballs. It's great.
About Hotline Miami? I don't know. It reminds me of the original Grand Theft Auto on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then
there you go. That's why I don't like it.
A game that spawned the biggest game franchise in history.
Yeah. That coincidentally I don't like either.
Oh my God! Oh my God! What is going on here? Is this reality?
Here's the thing. I think it's got an awesome soundtrack. Like, I absolutely love that killer soundtrack in the game.
It's great.
And I think that when you get like that flow of, because it is a very difficult game, and once you start getting that flow and not getting killed, and you're going along to the music, that it is fun. But I still don't like it.
Oh man, there's something about, like you said, like getting in that flow. Like once you've died 10, 20 times, and the restarts are so fast. The music doesn't stop. You're just right back in. And once you've hit that flow and you know like the lines you have to take, okay, I have to go this way, kill these guys, go this way, kill these 4 guys, and a certain order, the certain speed. Once you're doing it top speed, it just feels so good.
Yeah.
Oh, the sense of accomplishment and improvement is great.
I still don't like it.
And maybe I haven't really discussed this game, so if you are new to the Hotline Miami franchise, this game, once upon a time, there was a great prophet. His name was Jack Thompson, and he predicted murder simulators that would be rampant throughout the video games industry, and he wanted to stop it. And thankfully he didn't, because this game is a straight-up murder simulator, and it's great. It has just such great gameplay feedback. I think that's what it is. It has great feedback. You go in, you're set in a room as one character. There are several patrolling guards, there are dogs, there are different types of guards, they have different weapons. Some are melee, some have guns. You have melee weapons or guns sometimes. You can pick up whatever they drop, and it's one hit, you're dead. For the most part, there are a couple exceptions to that rule, but it's one hit, you're dead, and you're back to the start of the room. And if you don't clear a floor, you're right back to the start. You have to clear everything again.
It's frustrating, and
it's just so great because the restart is you die, you hit the A button, you're right back at the start, and you're right back in the action. There's no load times. It's just constant act. It has similar qualities to Super Meat Boy to me, which is another one of my favorite games.
I thought, no.
Yeah,
no,
yes.
No.
Oh my god, it's the exact same thing. It's hardcore difficulty.
Yeah, well, I don't. Yeah, in terms of difficult, maybe, but Super Meat Boy is a great game, whereas Hotline Miami is not that great.
It has the same exact feedback loop of you fail and you're right back in the action. No music stopping. You're just right back at the start, and you're learning from your mistakes over and over. And maybe you'll die 100 times, but eventually you're gonna get it if you keep trying and keep learning. And
I don't know. I just don't. I like violence in video games, but like games like Hotline Miami and Grand Theft Auto, like I like my violence to have a point, and for me, there isn't really a point in Hotline Miami. It's just kind of, let's do this. I'm like, why?
Maybe this is weird, but when I play Hotline Miami, like, yes, the violence in a grand scale doesn't have a point, but I feel like it's just exemplifying the excess of the 1980s so well.
The 1980s wasn't like that, though. Like, it wasn't just like everyone just went on a massive serial killing spree.
It's not, but it's taken to the 11th degree, the nth degree. It's turned up to 11. They've taken like everything about like the drugs and the sex and everything you hear about in the 1980s. When you think about the 1980s, you think excess, just so much money, and I think this game exemplifies that. It takes it to the utter extreme, and I think that it does it brilliantly. And it really does simulate that high of cocaine, of being like, I just need more. I just need to get right back into it. This is like such a high, and the music, when it's pounding in your headphones, and you're just on a streak, you feel so good. It's amazing.
No, I was the other way. I played like 5 minutes, and I never wanted to come back.
So you didn't like the first one either?
No, not really.
And you like Meat Boy. That's what it has the exact same.
No, it doesn't. Super Meat Boy is a great game, and it's a great platformer. Whereas this is just like Grand Theft Auto 1 in like modern day, and it's like, well, kind of bored. My God. I get it. What's the point of this?
And the ending in this one, the first one, the ending was weird, but it kind of, made sense, I guess. The final boss was fine. The ending to this one is just absolutely insane. And if there was any doubt about this being a cocaine simulator, just play the final level of this game. It's absolutely balls out insane, and I loved it. I don't want to spoil the final boss, but it's awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, mechanically it's okay. I didn't like it's a personal preference. I didn't like the mechanics. I didn't like the gameplay. I loved the style and the soundtrack and everything like that, but the gameplay for me was just I didn't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, the soundtrack is absolutely spot
There was,
on.
I think the problem was it's very simplistic. Like it's hard, it's kind of one of those things. It's easy to learn but hard to master because of its difficulty. But for me, there was not enough depth in the gameplay. There's not it didn't make me think. It was just kind of just do this.
Yeah, and I mean there are certain things that have changed from the previous version that some hardcore Hotline Miami fans may not like. They added, I believe they added, I don't think this was the original one because I don't remember it, a straight auto-target. So if you hit right trigger, you can auto-target onto your closest enemy. They've taken that out in the hard mode version, which I appreciated. I liked it better when you had free aim, everything. I think that fit a little better.
Controller, yeah.
Yeah, you have to play this game with the controller.
Yeah, I played it with mouse and keyboard.
Did you? Really? Maybe that's why you don't like it. You're playing the wrong way.
Yeah, that's why I didn't like it.
They also added... This game has a much bigger emphasis, I think, on guns. The last one had some guns. They definitely had some level of enemies with guns, but this one just jacks it up to 11. There's basically every enemy in a level will have a gun. Maybe 75% or 80% of enemies will have guns. It also means you end up with a gun a lot, so if you are a big fan of the melee in Hotline Miami 1, you'll probably want to err towards the melee-only masks.
Yeah, the melee in the game was kind of more dangerous. Like, you would get killed. There was a higher chance of getting killed if you're going to go melee. Like, the best thing to do was get a gun, and that was it. Like, go through the level with a gun.
Yeah. It's also silent. If you need a silent takedown sometimes, it does help if you're doing melee, but the guns are definitely the way to go. If you just want to play the game to get through the game, the guns are the way to go. The good thing is they have added, I think there are 5 different characters that you play as, and each one has a certain quirk.
Yeah, but each one has a certain quirk, but like some of them just are pointless. Like I found, like for example, one guy, his ability, like his trait was like he had like fast rolls or something like that.
Yeah.
What's the point in that?
Yeah,
because I didn't use rolls anyway.
Yeah, I didn't use it either. I didn't like that guy. But there are other cool ones. Like there's one that's actually 2 people, one with a chainsaw and one with a gun. So you can run out the chainsaw and fire the gun at the same time. Or even actually, I found out today by looking at the achievements that while you're chainsawing a guy, you could be shooting with the other guy, so you can protect him while he's chainsawing, which I thought was pretty cool. It would have been helpful in certain levels. There's also a Rambo style guy who has like a combat knife. There is a straight-laced cop who doesn't try to kill people. He actually just knocks them out, and then if you pick up a gun with him, he just unloads it and throws it on the ground, so you can't ever use guns with him. So they have some variety there. I think the level design is pretty good. I mean, I think the first one had excellent level design. This one continues that trend, and the story, it's crazy. It's just crazy. I don't
crazy
know.
crap. Same thing.
Yeah, says the person who likes Metal Gear. Okay?
Metal Gear. Listen, I could write you essays on why Metal Gear storyline is not only deep but fantastically written.
Okay, all right. I won't get you started. Yeah, sure. Whatever you say.
Hotline Miami is just like Grand Theft Auto. It's all style and no substance, and that's the end of it.
And sometimes that's just fine.
That's not
sometimes
okay.
That's what you, sometimes that's really what you want. There's some substance there. You just don't like the substance. It's okay.
There's no substance.
Not for everyone. Yeah. Okay. And that's I guess that's it. I mean, check out they have the playlist for the soundtrack on Spotify.
It's worth getting it is worth getting the music.
Listen to that on repeat all the time at work the past month. It's great.
It is great.
And I mean, Devolver Digital is just a great publisher. Everything they do seems to be an utter hit. Everything they make.
I like some of their stuff they publish. I like it usually tends to be kind of quirky indie games.
Yeah, exactly. They have a good eye for games, I believe. And Titan Soul is the next big indie game that I'm really excited for.
Not heard of that.
We'll have to check that one out. When it comes out, I believe in April. I think that one's coming out, so we'll have to take a look. And I think that just about does it for this week's show. Do you have anything else you'd like to add before we finish?
No, I'm good.
No? So if this was the one game you bought this week, would you be happy?
No.
I say yes, go buy this game. You will not regret
I'll buy the soundtrack, not the game.
All right.
Where I draw the line.
Okay. So Cosmic, what do you got going on your YouTube channel
this week?
Anything?
I actually have videos this week.
All right.
So
Good.
I've got my Sunless Sea review that I had done weeks ago. That'll be up.
Mm-hmm. All right,
and then
that's a pretty cool
I'll
game.
have Pillars of Eternity on Thursday, and I will have other games that I can't talk about.
You got a little sneak peek on Pillars of Eternity. What it was good, bad? What are we looking at?
It's awesome.
All right, that's a good preview there.
But there's other stuff that I can't talk about, but it'll be up on launch.
All right, well, you'll have to go to youtube.com/thecosmicengine to check that out. Or you can also get Cosmic at CosmicEngine99. And me, well, let's go with the show first. You can contact the show at 20orLESS Podcast on Twitter, or you can email us at 20orlesspodcast@gmail.com. And you can reach myself at GTeeg, that's GTEEG on Twitter, or you can email me at GaddockTeeg@GaddockGaming.com. And with that, I believe we are done. So thank you very much for watching or listening.